We're back. Round 3. I'm exhausted but excited. Exhausted but excited. Alright, you know the drill. Let's find the filter. I don't know, I really like this one because I think it's ironic. Let's see. What's kind of... Alright, we're sticking with the original, right? Don't fuck with the original, right? That works. I really still do not know what I'm doing on this thing. I'll get it one day. Oh my god, you gotta be kidding me.
Who is this?
A much more impatient version of the person you've been talking to the past 2 days.
That's not the answer I wanted.
It's not the answer you wanted? What answer do you want?
I want to know what your favorite scary movie is.
Okay, I've already answered that like 100 times. I'm not answering that again.
You hang up on me and I'll cut through your throat until I feel bone.
Okay, you need therapy, my guy. Like, real bad. Who do you think you are exactly?
Think of me as the director. You're in my TV show. And you got a fun part. Don't blow it now. Don't blow it. You're the dumb blonde with the big...
Okay, cut. No, this was not in the script. No. I know you're... What are you doing, Andy?
What? I was improvising. I was in
No.
character. It was going great. Let's take it back from the top.
No, we need a new writer.
I agree with you there, Kat. Yeah, we do need a new writer, or maybe we just needed an old writer. Maybe we just needed our old friend, Kevin Williamson. Welcome back, Kevin Williamson, and welcome back to Scream Week and another bloody installment of Scream Movies with Friends. I am your co-host, Randy Greene, aka Andy Greene, and I am joined by, my co-host extraordinaire, writer, podcaster, Drew Crew Review. That's right, Kat Pettibone. Hello, and we're doing this for each other right now, and I love it.
That's okay.
Yeah, it is okay, because this is just a phone call where we're talking about Scream 4.
We'd love to see it.
Well, Scream 4, 2011, is that accurate?
2011 is when it came out, yes.
And we got Wes Craven coming back for one final ride in the saddle.
R.I.P., yep.
Yes, rest in peace, Wes Craven. This is all for Wes. And also the YWCA, a nonprofit organization that's dedicated to eliminating racism and helping stop domestic violence. And we're focusing on the greater LA area because that's where we are. And that's, I think, where, you know, a lot of the action in Scream takes place, even though we're in Santa Rosa. We're back in Woodsboro today. Yay.
We are.
Yay. So Kat, is this your second favorite?
It is. It's my second favorite after the original. I do really like Scream 2, but this just brings more to the table, I think, than even Scream 2 does. I just think it's so good. But I have so many questions to ask you because I know you've never seen Scream 4 before this moment. So, like, before we even get into the conversation, like, I want to know, like, the big swings. Like, did you guess who the killer was? No, wait, actually, let me just start with, did you like it? Just simple, did you like it? No explanation, yes or no question.
Yes, I liked it. And I think we have the same ranking of Scream movies.
Do we? Okay.
I think but like I was on the fence on between 2 and 4 until the ending of Scream 4. And then I was like, okay, it lived up to what I wanted it to be. So yeah, it would go Scream 2, or sorry, Scream 4, Scream 2, Scream 3. But like the first 3 are pretty close. I mean, or I guess the first one is on its own sort of echelon. But these, I don't know. I was telling you last time that it's sort of like they're becoming my friends. I'm getting that TV show quality here. you know, and because this is like every other slasher franchise, it doesn't really do this. It doesn't really keep the same characters. It doesn't build upon it in the same way. It's always like, yeah, Mike Myers, they're the star, and yes, Ghostface is the star, but it's always someone different behind the mask, and we're focusing on the same characters like that are trying to be saved. So yeah.
For sure. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. So tell me, did you know who the killer was? Or killers, I should say, because it is 2 this time. Again, we go back to our roots here.
Yeah. So I knew we were going to go back to our roots and be 2. And I also, there was a certain point, I mean, I suspected Jill. I did. And
okay. When was it, though? When was the moment?
Well, so like, I mean, she was, you know, I've gotten to the point where like everyone is a suspect, of course. So like, but I also thought like early on that like it would make some sense that it would be her. It would be actually impactful if it was someone related to Sydney in that way. But it wasn't until like when I knew, or like I was like gonna lock in my answer for Clue, you know, like it was Jill Roberts in the or whatever the fuck her last name. I think it was Roberts. But it was when they have the party, like the little small after party, right? And she goes
at Kirby's house. Yeah.
Yeah, she goes up to get or find her phone. And then when she comes back saying she has the phone, I'm like, okay, no, she's one of the 2. And then it was like a question of who the other person was. And it made sense that it was Charlie. And I liked it because, I mean, Rory Culkin, yeah. So yeah.
We need a disclaimer here because I see so many people saying it was Kieran Culkin like all the time. And I'm like, that is not Kieran. That is Rory Culkin. Is it a totally different person?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's another
same family, but
yeah, same family, another brother. And yeah, I mean, that tripped me out too, because I honestly forgot that Rory existed. And sorry, Rory, you're great. Cause I was like, wait, this guy doesn't look like Kieran Culkin. But I'm really happy that the Culkin family, they just have their handprints all over Hollywood. They're really, yeah. So yes, this movie I think hit, it almost checked all the boxes. I would say I have a little bit of qualms about it, but we can get into that. But I wanted to know, this is like your 15th time probably watching it, right? What did you get anything more from it this time or anything new? What was your focus this time?
Not really. I mean, I just watching it so close to Scream 3. I don't know if I've watched them we've watched so many in the past 3 days. It's been like a binge watch situation.
Yeah.
I think that I just saw like the things that they were fixing were like more glaringly obvious. I think because at this point, the 4th film, it immediately goes back to referencing the horror culture at large, not just itself, which is something that I complained about yesterday. It immediately does that. And so, and it also, it still makes fun of itself as well at this point. So I think it just, again, like Kevin Williamson just understands like how to make fun of himself while also like being good. Like, I don't know, it just gets better every time. Like he's just more and more aware with each one and just keeps it fresh. So I think I was like more aware of kind of them subtly picking apart the things in Scream 3 that didn't necessarily work and sort of poking fun at themselves with that. And I mean, I'm always here for more Sydney. You know, I wish she was more of the narrative. I'll always wish that. It was like a new generation kind of vibe, which it wasn't originally supposed to be, but that happened. And I do like, though, how she took her power back. Like, in the opening sequence that we see her, she's written a book now. She's the narrator of her own story. And, like, that resonated with me really deeply this time. I don't know why, but I guess just because we were talking yesterday about how Scream 3 kind of did some weird stuff when it comes to, like, women and sexual assault and their histories and things like that. And I just really liked how she was owning her own narrative. Now we're back on that track, and that's pleasant for me.
I really like that. She's out of the darkness, and it sort of feels like a choice that she is rewriting her past, or being like literally writing herself as no longer the victim, and really getting into her power, which is great. I really appreciated seeing Sydney in that way. And it was just funny because, okay, now she's writing a book and she was so uppity against Gail for it, but it's, you know, it's so screen. It works. And I think,
but yeah, I mean, I think all three of the main characters are exactly where they should be. You know, like Dewey is the sheriff of the town, and people actually respect him, which is great. And then Gale has stepped down from, you know, covering everything, but you know, when we meet up with her again, which I think is like where she needed to go because she was such a selfish character. And then you have Sydney doing it instead. She's telling her own story, which is exactly where I think she should be to grow. So it's like, I feel like he chose really good places for all three characters to be when we meet them again.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, and it was sort of a surprise / not really that they actually chose Dewey and Gale to be together at the start of this movie.
Oh, really? I
mean, I sort of thought they were going to continue to like pull the rug out with us, but then they do anyway, because they separate them in a way that, to me, there's like a few annoying parts of this movie. And that was one of them, where I just didn't buy that Dewey would do that, and that he wasn't like into Judy or whatever her name was, the deputy, you know, our girl from Sandlot and like a billion other things, that actress, Marley Shelton. But like, yes, I know we have to have that conflict between them in every movie, but I just thought that one was sort of lame, or at least it didn't have the teeth that I wanted it to. Like, it would have been better maybe if I actually thought that Dewey was into his deputy. You know, I mean, I think he liked her lemon bars, but it didn't go beyond that, you know? And not that I want to see that, but I didn't feel threatened by it. And it just sort of felt like Dewey was sidelining Courteney Cox because we needed to have that conflict to continue to make the movie longer, or like they couldn't be, we need the band to be back together only at the end. And it sort of felt like we're doing that TV thing where we have to like draw out the relationship.
Right.
For no logical sense. It didn't feel.
I did not see Judy's crush on Dewey as something that was actually the conflict between Gale and Dewey. I just thought it was just like an added part of the character to honestly maybe even make her look suspicious, just because it like puts her in the circle, and then she loves Dewey. So what if that means that she's like willing to kill? You know, you can go places with that, and she's kind of, you know, she's not off, but she's like a little, you know, like colorful or whatever. So you're just like, this could be her kind of thing. And I feel like their conflict was more from, like Gale kind of going back into this place where she was when the murders last happened, you know, where she started trying to get the story, and it's like interfering with his job, and then she's putting herself in danger. And I think like for me, that's where like I felt like that felt like a more natural marital conflict for me. But I can understand what you're saying. Like, did we really need the conflict? Maybe not necessarily so. Well, I get that.
I know, actually, okay, so that brings up a good point, I think, because it's like, I think you're right. That's what it was trying to do. I don't think it quite worked, because I don't think Dewey necessarily voiced what needed to be voiced, or like what he was feeling, because he's getting flashbacks, right? He's like, oh, I've seen this Gale before. I'm going to be the forgotten man until the end again. And I don't want to be that, you know, and he's sort of having flashbacks of this, and oh no, it's the old Gale. And I don't think he really voices that. He sort of is just like, no, let's not do this now. And I think I wanted a confrontation, an actual, like, tell her why he's upset. And she could, of course, be Gale and be like, oh, fuck off, I'm not doing any of that stuff, you know, whatever. And it's still, because I think Gale was like what she would be doing all the time. It was more like Dewey's reaction to me that felt like,
Gale in this movie is awesome. I love Gale in this movie. It's my favorite Gale movie for sure out of all the Screams. She's still got that hard edge. I think Courteney Cox is so funny in this movie. She's really funny in the third one too, and obviously she knows how to do comedy. Hello, she's a legend. But she's just so good and so strong, and I just love because the thing was, I understand what you're saying. Like, it would have been nice if they actually had a conversation. I know they have a conversation over the phone, and Dewey kind of is like chastising her and like making fun of her when she's actually in real danger, which is like, was kind of weird for me. I don't know if you remember that scene. He's like in the car talking to her, and she's at that big party. And that felt kind of weird to me. I'm like, don't you think, like, I mean, like, why are you joking around when you know she's in danger? That doesn't feel very like Dewey-like. But on Gale's end of things, I do feel like even though she started to fall back into her usual place, she used that to actually do good, if that makes sense. Like, instead of going on that usual selfish path, she was like, okay, I'm different now, I'm grown, and I'm going to use this to help my husband figure out who the killer is, kind of thing.
Right, and she includes Sydney pretty easy, like early in the movie club thing. And also, she's just smart, right? She's the only one, it feels like, that's intelligent. in this movie. And I think that was one of my other annoying things. And you sort of actually bring it up, that phone call. And I'm just like, why was no one at this fucking Stabathon party? It doesn't make any sense. And I know it has to for the movie, but it's one of those things where it takes me out of it. I'm like, come on. We're not so dumb now. This is Scream 4. We got to, like, the phone calls, to me, it's just like, if I get a phone call, I know immediately who it is. I know immediately I'm hanging up or whatever. It's just, we keep being surprised, the characters in it. And I know that the stab movies make fun of that, but then I feel like the movie itself still sort of does that too.
Yeah.
And so, like, that to me was one of the, like, I have like 3 annoying things. And yeah, that was...
No. Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think you're right about the party, because especially because, like, we're back in Woodsboro, it's a small town. If all those kids, they did establish there's a curfew, right? So, like, everybody was supposed to be home. This is a secret underground party. So, like, you can say that's how the police didn't know. But, like, it's a small town. All those kids are missing from their homes when there's a curfew. No parents are wondering what's going on. Like, nobody's walking in their kid's room. I mean, it's totally unbelievable. I'm okay with the phone call thing, though, just because it's such a staple of the movie.
Right.
And because they did away with that stupid voice modulator. They just went back to the original Scream guy. And at this point, so many people fake the voice as, like, you know, just to, like, be stupid, like, not actual killers, like, we'll just call and prank, that, like, it works because people just automatically assume it's somebody just being stupid, you know what I mean? So, like, that works for me more than, yeah, the party was, come on. And then the other one is when that lady is walking alone in the parking garage, when there's already been kills, people have already been murdered, and she's just walking alone at night in a parking garage. I think about getting murdered in a parking garage now, even though no serial killers after me. Like, you know what I mean?
You haven't had 3 movies in your life, yeah. Yeah.
But like,
Alison Brie, we needed to get her out of here, I guess. But
I understand. She had, it makes sense with the story, like why she died, why she was killed, blah blah blah. But like, just come on, be more aware. Like, she's not even. I leave work every day, and when I walk at night in a parking garage, I'm worried, like, because I'm a woman. That's what it is, you know. So have more self-awareness than that.
I really hope there's more in the 5th movie of that. And I think also, I mean, there's been this explosion of true crime since this movie came out, and I think it's, you know, and so many people are in your shoes, and so many people are aware and vigilant, and unfortunately, like, sort of need to be, right? And there's a reason for that. And I hope that, like, the movie will reflect that. And because it seemed like if I'm living in this universe, I'm never leaving my fucking house, or I'm like I'm going somewhere underground. I'm whatever. Like,
I know.
And everyone's always like going to get the wind chimes or do something really stupid. And it's just like, I know we have to do it, but it just, I feel like there's better ways. And I am totally with you on that. For sure.
So, but I have more questions though for you, because
yes,
I want to know how you felt about the opening scene. Did you like it? Were you surprised, etc.? Like, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so yeah, the opening scene, I was gonna get back to that because to me it evokes the whole series, right? Like, Scream in this way is almost like it's a parody of itself, kind of, but it's also this joke that has kind of gotten stale by Scream 3, right? But then it's like one of those jokes where you just keep going until it's funny again. That's what this intro felt like, and this movie sort of felt like in a way. And I really, really liked it. I mean, obviously, if it had just ended on the first one and it was a movie trailer, that would have been terrible. But then we got the 2. And then also, it's doing the best thing that we, like, at least I know I love and you love, of seeing, like, all our favorite teen actors, like, getting...
So many.
Getting to stay. And I'm going to rank those with you in a moment.
Okay.
Like, based on who's our favorite. But then, yeah, seeing those ladies bicker about why horror movies suck, why that Stab 6, why Stab 7 sucks and doesn't make sense. And then the Kristen Bell moment, I did not necessarily see coming, and I loved it. And then there was a part of me where I was like, I mean, I knew it couldn't, like, this wasn't the movie. She wasn't the killer. We wouldn't know.
Obviously, in the first 2 seconds, we tell you the killer is.
Yeah, but I was sort of like, I kind of want to see more from this movie, from that Stab movie. I was like, oh, okay.
What's the history there between those 2 people?
Yeah. She was just like, you're annoying. Shut up. Yeah.
Yeah. I love the opening. I think it works so well for me. I think the first scene, there are so many little things where you can tell if you're paying attention that it's a stab movie. Like there's extra blood and gore, although there is one scene in this movie where there's a lot of blood, which is not usual for Scream. Like Scream doesn't go, there's blood and gore, but there's not like torture porn like they, you know, like so many blood and guts stuff. But there is one scene where they do that this movie. But
with their neighbor, right? Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah, it's that one. Yeah, where the whole
yeah.
room is blood. Yeah. And her guts are out. But anyway, so you can kind of tell, like, if you know that it's stabbed, you can see, like, little things in the way the dialogue is kind of changed a little bit and the stupid decisions that they're making that are literally so stupid. Lucy Hale's character.
More stupid, yeah.
Come on, like, by this movie, it has to be fake people, you know? And so you kind of, that one isn't as surprising, but then the next one is, like, you know, especially if you haven't seen it yet, that one, the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, shit. Like, I thought, like, that was the real, you know? And then it goes to the third one. And then they have commentary there, you know, like we did in our little opening skit here, you know, about how she's not a dumb blonde. She has a 4.0 GPA, blah, 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 you know. And it's just, I just love it. It's just so smart. It's so good. And just like, he's back, you know. Like, our writer is back.
He's back. And then they even evoked the garage door kind of kill. They did, I mean, the
back. Yeah.
The three intros have like a million different references, of course, because we're just replaying the opening scene over and over and over again. And I have no idea what we're going to have to do tomorrow or Friday to come up with a new one.
I know. I do just want to do a shout out to these movies, though, because they mentioned it in the first film, and I never said anything, and I really wanted to bring it up. There is no nudity in these movies, and I think that that's really, really great. And they have not broken that in 4 movies, and I'm absolutely sure that they will not do it in the 5th, even though we don't have Wes Craven as the director. Like, I have faith. Scream 3, like, toyed with it, like, in dialogue, but you never actually get any nudity. So, I don't know. I just really, really like that because that's so rare for horror films. I mean, so rare.
Yeah. No, and it's, I mean, it does sort of point to like Scream, and I think this is probably why you like Scream maybe the most, right? Because it does feel like it's maybe the most feminist, or at least it's trying, you know, at its best, and it has certain lines and rules even when it's breaking almost every other one. You know, I don't know if it's necessarily like, obviously we could be more feminist and we could be more conscious about all these different things, especially with like race and sexuality and stuff like that. But and maybe Scream 5 will go into that more. Who knows? But yeah, it is really nice that they obviously play it for a joke a lot of times too. Like we see Heather Graham take her clothes off like 4 different times. We never actually see it. The audience does in the movie, or maybe
Stab.
Or
exactly.
Maybe not. Yeah,
Stab
exactly.
does it. Yeah, Scream does not. And exactly. I like that juxtaposition. It's very nice. Yeah. So, and Heather Graham came back for this movie, which I think is really funny too. So.
Was that actually still her, or was that just the same? Well, I know it was her, but was that just the same footage from Scream?
Different footage.
Really? That's some of your BTS juicy stuff. Okay.
You know, my other BTS, I will say, although Kevin Williamson wrote this movie, he did get in a huge fight with Harvey Weinstein, and they ended up taking him off the movie. And so the script was pretty much done, but they were having a lot, like the original script was not supposed to have a younger generation. It was supposed to be a little bit different, and it had to do with like Sydney. The killer actually gets Sydney, and she like recuperates over a few years. I don't know, it was a little different. And then Harvey Weinstein didn't like it, so Kevin Williamson changed it. And then after that, he had to go to the Vampire Diaries, and he couldn't like, I don't know, give enough time or something. So they kind of kicked him off the movie. They used his script, but they brought in the guy from Scream 3 to do any of the small rewrites or whatever. And I don't think that he did anything to decimate it, which is great. But so Kevin Williamson is still the credited writer, obviously, but this was like, this led to like a lawsuit, a big lawsuit between the two. Yeah.
Well, obviously we're team Kevin Williamson in that. Geez, there's not
any day, all day. Come on.
Yeah. Oh my God. And it's interesting because I mean, I'm not gonna say it was a great idea, but I think the new generation definitely makes the ending work better, or like at least the ending that we got is basically hinged upon that. So I don't know what the ending would have been otherwise. So, but like for what we got, the movie we got, the ending was right. And I really liked Emma Roberts like her staging the murders was one of my favorite scenes.
It's honestly one of the hardest parts of any of the Screams to watch. I feel like her hurting herself is like some of the most, is like one of the only times I go like this, just because it's so like, oh God, like having to throw herself on the table or like scratch her own face. I mean,
that was
it's really
so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. I'm obsessed with it, but I think it's so good. But it's like cringy in a good way.
Yeah, cringy in a good way. Exactly. Yeah. And I also just really appreciate the casting there. And also one of the reasons why I sort of suspected Emma Roberts, but like there's the whole thing that she, of course, is related to Julia Roberts. And it felt like she probably has that same thing, you know, trying to grow up in the shadow of Julia. Or even if she's not, like she's so in such a different sphere from Julia Roberts. Like I think she stands on her own and people might not even know. But like, I know when she first started that was definitely, and this is like kind of at the beginning of her career. So I thought that was such a cool and a very Scream perfect casting again.
I agree, because I think at the time, you know, she was really known for being Julia Roberts' niece, obviously, and she still is, but she also had only done like, she was really going to be like a rom-com vibe starlet, right? And I think that's why it was such good casting, because that's who people went in seeing, and you're like, okay, this is the new final girl. It's the new generation. This is Sydney passing it down to her, blah, blah, blah. She's going to take over or whatever. And like, I think through 3/4 of the movie, they do a really good job of making it seem like she is not the killer. Like they really pivot and are very careful about those things. And then it starts to unravel, probably on purpose, because they want you to sort of start catching on or whatever it may be. But then when she, you know, flips a switch, she delivers a psychopath, and you know, so well. And now of course she's gone on to like Scream Queens and, you know, American Horror Story, and can do all those darker roles so well. But like at the time, she was not that person. So the casting really is just like so good.
Yeah, and in a way, it's sort of what it became her path in acting.
Oh yeah,
like, or at least this is the most Emma Roberts of the movie. Like, yeah, for sure. And I guess let's see. Do you want to rank the ladies at the beginning of our new 6 people that all die at the beginning?
Sure.
We got Lucy.
How are we ranking them?
Just in terms of, that's a good point. Because in terms of their quality, they don't have enough time in here to really, like, I guess it's just, no, I mean, obviously it's not by looks. Maybe there's not like their career. I don't know. That's unfair to Shanae Grimes. I just like don't know her. So maybe it's not an idea.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if we're doing by like popularity, obviously Kristen Bell is going to be at the top. I think she's the most famous of all 6 of them, I would say. And then probably right underneath her would be
Anna Paquin or Lucy Hale, maybe. But
Lucy Hale is up there.
Yeah.
Especially now, you know, that was even before Pretty Little Liars and like her whole like when she like really became even more famous. And then Britt Robertson, I know her very well. I know like a bunch of shows she's been in that always get canceled after like
the Dome. Wasn't she in this one? Like, was it called? It's not called Going the Distance, but there was some, or like there's something about her losing her virginity for the first time. Is it to
the first time? It's with Dylan O'Brien.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that movie.
Me
so
too.
Much.
Yeah.
So good. I love Dylan O'Brien. And then I know so much. And they dated in real life for like 5 years. And who's after? Aimee Teegarden. I mean, she really, we know her from Friday Night Lights, but that's a pretty good show to know somebody from. It's iconic. Right. And then Shanae Grimes is kind of bottom there.
Yeah, she was never one of the best parts of Friday Night Lights, unfortunately. But
she was not. Probably one of the worst, actually.
Yeah, it wasn't. I don't know if it's her fault.
Not her fault, though.
Yeah, no, I thought she was
fine.
I thought she was great in this, and I think Kristen Bell just wins overall because she's the best of like in this movie. She has the most fun and gets to like. I mean, she kills someone. So yeah, Kristen Bell wins. Yeah. And I also sort of think Kristen Bell like has this dark side to her for sure. Like, and I think, I mean, and it's sort of, she's played the Disney princess and all that stuff, but I sort of, and was the hero in, you know, Veronica Mars, and that's sort of how she entered our consciousness. But I sort of want to see more of this Kristen Bell, because in a way I'm sort of tired of Kristen Bell, so I want her to play.
Well, that makes sense, I guess.
I want her to play on the sort of the meanness. I don't know. But let's see. Do we care about Trevor? What do you think about Trevor, the new boyfriend?
I I mean, I like that actor. He's been in a couple shows that I think he's really good. But as far as the character, I thought they did like a pretty decent job. They didn't put too much effort into trying to make him, because I think that they know like it's never going to be the boyfriend again. It's always going to be somebody else. So it's like, why even really try and spend our screen time trying to prove that to you? But I will say the scene where he climbs in through Jill's window and then now Sydney is the one walking in on them having a moment, and it's a callback there. That's very nice. That was so nicely done. I like that a lot.
That was really good, yeah. And that was like a really nice, that was probably the height of where it felt like Sydney and Jill were like coming together, and this is kind of cute. Oh, / also disturbing because we know what movie we're in.
They're bonding over this like horrible tragedy, for sure. I mean, because Jill kills her own mom. I mean, it's really like, I hate to say this is the most fucked up villain because they're all extremely fucked up, but like Jill is just on another level of crazy to me. Like she really is just absolute. I mean, they all are, but like it's just, she's insane. She's honestly the scariest one for me, probably.
Ooh. Well, I mean, there's something even more scary about, it's always someone you know, but this is a family member. So that's even a step like closer, like it's by blood, and I mean, yeah, they're just cousins. It's not like,
but she kills her mother.
Right.
So
no, exactly. It's like, and also she of the twosomes, she's the only one who turns, or at least gets to turn on the other partner, right? She kills the other person, and like even Stu and Billy, like they're a team, and like I don't think Laurie Metcalf and Timothy Oliphant really have much going on so much, but like.
But they don't kill each other. Like she is truly just out for herself. Like it is all for her so that she can be famous, and she's going to do whatever it takes. And I think that that's part of like the chilling part of it. And it's also really good commentary on like, especially now, even more so than it was then, just because I think at that time YouTube and stuff was like just taking off, and now it's like just exploded, but it's holds up, 10 years later for sure.
Oh my God, so much. I mean, do you just think about what we're doing right now?
Exactly.
Like
it's very meta of us.
But like what Robbie is doing, filming his whole life and having his hall pass TV show, it was so like prescient about, and I keep saying that word because I like that word, but that's what it is. It's like, he knew, unfortunately, where we're headed, where like, and the murders of being like turning the murders into like basically a live murder or a movie murder is fucked up, but also to me and chilling, and it's scary because that is real / like that just doesn't surprise me, right? In a really dark way, and that is where the world has come, and there's sort of this desire to be famous. I mean, here we are, we got someone out there watching us. We had, like, if we were killing someone right now, we'd have so many more viewers.
That's true. People would definitely be tuned in for that. So, yeah, but what I also like about it is I think that it was good commentary, and it definitely says that things like that plays a role in negativity, but I don't think it put all the blame like narratively on. Like it wasn't saying like, oh, this is just because it's all on the blame here. Like I've said this on every movie. I do think when they, in the third one, blaming all violence on entertainment is asinine, and it was so weird that they did that. So to kind of come back and kind of have a more grounded look at it and be like, this contributes, but these people are also completely mentally unhinged, obviously, kind of thing. It's important to like walk that line.
Right. And it's more, her motive is more, I mean, yeah, it's the fame, but it's more because of who she grew up in the shadow of. It's more because of Sydney and having and if you can just imagine, like, if this was real and I was her, I mean, I don't think I would turn into her, but I would feel like,
it'd be a rough life for sure.
Right. Like, how do you, and I think about this all the time. Like, I don't know if I'm Robin Williams' daughter or son, like I think I would change my name. I think I would like not want to be like, I don't know. It feels like this secret in the same way that Sydney Prescott has to live her life in secret. Like, I just don't know how anyone takes you seriously, or you don't want to be like, oh, you're this person's son, this person's sister, this person's, and like, I know we're not all that shallow, but so many people are.
Yeah.
And of course I have enough negative self-talk without that. So I can only imagine how like less than I would feel if I was sort of like, oh shit, in the shadow of Neve Campbell,
Yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, she says that she barely knows Sydney, and you know, I think, I don't want to say she has a point, because, like, she doesn't have a point, but, like, it's unfortunate that Sydney would never reach out to, like, her younger cousin who was growing up in the same town that she grew up in. You know, you would think that she would at least try and, like, form some sort of relationship there, because, I don't know, I would be worried about my family if they're growing up in the town where I was, like, you know, stalked and almost killed a million times. So, I mean, I get her to some degree, but...
Well, I mean, the reason for that is because she didn't exist until Scream 4, you know? like I think...
Yes, that's true.
I think Sydney...
We're going logistics, yeah.
If Sydney was real, she would have probably been a better person and would have, like, reached out and maybe, you know, if they were a close family or she wanted them to be, they would have been in witness protection together. You know, I actually sort of found the, like, Mary McDonnell character, the, like, you know, Maureen's sister, as a kind of a potentially fascinating character. She was very undeveloped, and then there was a moment where I thought maybe she was, you know, one of the obvious candidates, but like,
yeah, she
was so underwritten and sort of frail that it would have been kind of like Professor Quirrell in Harry Potter or something. Like, it was sort of like that vibe. But and Mary McDonnell's a really good actress, so that's why I was like, oh, okay, I would love to see her do that turn, but we didn't really. I think it's better what we got. But I was, you know, I think her story is something that's interesting too. I mean, of course,
agreed.
She didn't exist as well until Scream 4, but, like, I don't know. It's still, that said, it's just, to me, what's so cool about writing and creating these worlds is that, like, yeah, they literally didn't exist, and it's been 20 years or 15 years, and they're like, okay, how do we come back and actually say something new and right some of these wrongs? You know, and
it works for me though.
I think it did work for me. And at the end of the day, we don't really need our people to be 100% like real and that, like, oh, like, because we know that Emma Roberts' character wasn't around until we sat down.
Of course not.
Okay, and then we forgive Sydney for that, because, you know, whatever. Especially when Emma Roberts ends up trying to kill her. So
I mean, yeah, she was just being born, you know, the first time around when Sydney was first getting killed. So it's you know, being stalked or whatever it may be. So yeah, it works for me. It does. And it, again, you know, I said yesterday, like, I hate when they retcon the original. It's a pet peeve of mine, and it doesn't touch the original in any way. It just adds on to the story, which I really like. But I need to know what you think about Kirby, because I think she's the best part of the movie for me. And she is my favorite scene of the whole movie, which is probably a pretty obvious one, but I want to know your thoughts.
Well, I love Kirby. I love Hayden Panettiere. I had a huge crush on her when, like, in the Heroes days, for sure. And she's just great in this. And I sort of, it made me miss her and want to see her in more stuff. Cause, like, she was killing it in the fashion sense, like the sort of jacket she had with her hair up. But, like, I'm assuming your favorite scene, is that the trivia one or yeah. Okay. Yeah. Where she, like, nails it. And she's just also just very smart, but also just, she's the whole package basically in terms of a horror movie fan and badass, smart, beautiful. Yeah, all the things.
I know. I mean, I think if there's only one complaint, and I will say we don't ever see her body, so I am convinced that both Stu and Kirby are alive. These are fan theories that have gone around. So
interesting.
Fingers crossed she made it. I know they say at the end that Kirby died, but I feel like maybe not. But I would have liked to see her live, because to me, she is the actual new final girl, right? Like, you think it's Jill. It's set up to be Jill, but it's Kirby. She's badass. Like you said, she's badass. She's smart. She's knowledgeable. You know what I mean? Like, she is in control of herself. I don't know. She's just such a great character. And that entire scene where she's on the phone with Ghostface is so good. And Hayden Panettiere does an amazing job there.
I totally agree. And that's a really good point, that she's the true final girl, because, I mean, it would be, again, harkening back to the first one where it's like, oh, Drew Barrymore's the final girl. No. And it's sort of like we've set up it to be Emma Roberts so obviously going to be her. And so that would have been a really cool thing if we were going to go that way, or if she survived. And it would be cool if she came back. Maybe that's why she's pissed about her role. The actress Hayden Panettiere
she quit the biz.
Yeah, exactly. I think I want to just say, because you mentioned how this movie didn't fuck with the remake, and that was the best line in this movie, right? Is, you know, you forgot the best. Yeah, exactly. You forgot the first rule of remakes: don't fuck with the original.
Fuck with the original.
And I think this movie does a really good job of sort of, like, walking that line. And I mean, yeah, we could talk about, you know, Adam Brody and Anthony Anderson. I think they have a really fun sort of
great.
They have a fun meta conversation about cops in horror movies, and I appreciated that, and also enjoyed their deaths. But like, they both are great actors, so they could have done more, but also we didn't need them, so it's totally fine. But I actually sort of wanted to ask you, like, tomorrow, I want this to settle in for you, Kat. Tomorrow, you're going to see Scream 5, the next Scream. 25.
I've been waiting so long for this.
25. Is this the first? Did you see that? You probably saw the 2011 one in theaters, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this won't be the first Scream in theaters you'll have seen. It will be my first Scream in theaters. But that's not saying much because I saw Scream 2, 3, and 4 for the first time in the last 2 days. But my journey is a lot shorter than yours. But I want to like take a moment to let that sink in. And also, I'm just very curious, like, what are your expectations? What are you worried about? What are you excited about? What do you want to see? And then we can go from there.
Okay. As far as like what my expectations are and what I'm worried about, not many things. I mean, Kevin Williamson is at the helm. You know, we've done away with Weinstein. And you know, my only issue, it's not an issue, but like, it's sad, is there's no Wes Craven to direct this time around, right? So we are missing somebody so integral to the story. So I'm interested to see what that looks like. But I have faith, you know, if it's in Williamson's hands, I really do have faith. And I do feel like the 3 originals would not have come back for another one if it wasn't really good and really strong. So like, I have faith in it. What I don't want to see, and it really is like, I know the 4th one was very much based in the idea of social media and wanting to be famous on this platform, but it didn't feel saturated by that. It was talked about a lot, but we weren't, and maybe that was because of the time, I don't know, but we weren't, you know, they had headsets, whatever, but they weren't like I don't want to see Ghostface killing someone on TikTok. Like, I'm not interested in seeing that. I don't want the whole movie to be about Instagram posts and like, oh, he's going live. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to see any of that. I want this to be more grounded than that. I'm so tired of seeing that in teen dramas right now. I'm just not interested. And I don't think it will be. It doesn't seem like that from any of the trailers. You know, from what I know from the plot, it seems to be they're going a totally different way. So I don't think it will be. That's like my biggest fear.
Okay. That makes sense, but it does sort of feel like they kind of almost did it already in
right.
4, but you're right. There definitely are things they could play with. I imagine there might be a little bit of whispers of that, but I really hope
that's fine. I mean, be true to 2022. That's okay, but not to the point where like we're only communicating. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see like in-person kills. Like, I'm not trying to be, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want it to be something that it's not or hasn't been before. But, you know, I love what I'm seeing from, you know, the plot so far. You know, they say that it's like somebody's back and killing everybody that's part of a lineage of all the previous killers, which I think is like so interesting and completely opens it up on who it could be. Because now they're killing people related to bad guys. So does that mean that somebody that we thought was a good person is bad now because they think they're doing something good? Do you know what I mean? So like there's so many different ways it could go. I know who I want the killer to be, but
so you want it to be Stu, right? Like,
I would love for it to be Stu, but I'm okay with it being someone like, a lot of people think it's Dewey. A lot of people think it's Sydney. I don't think it's Sydney. I think that would decimate her character, and I very much hope that it's not. I would be okay with Gale or Dewey. I think if they snapped, I mean, because I could see Gale's motive being like a washed-up journalist and she needs a story, right? Or, you know, Dewey. I think I'm less on board with the Dewey because I just can't see Dewey doing it. I really can't. I don't know. And I think that one of the major 3 people will die this movie.
Yes.
I feel like they have to at this point.
I agree with that. I was going to say it has to. It's like what you said in Scream 2 and what I guess Kevin Williamson said when he had to kill Randy off. It's like we need to know, like,
right.
and it's been miraculous that they've lasted this long. And we need this. It's sort of like, you know, the Star Wars thing where anyone's on the table. you know, at this point. And not that I want to see that, but like you sort of need to have stakes, and we need to be watching this movie and not like assume that the big three are just going to survive. So yeah, I think there's a chance that Sydney's the one who dies, but I would be pretty disappointed if she's the one who like snaps. I think it makes a lot of sense that like people have talked about it, and like if anyone would turn the most, it would be her. It's sort of, that's the hardest part. Like this movie sort of lives and dies on who is going to be the killer in a way. And there's really not very many options that will be satisfying, because it'll be really hard if they introduce a new character, right? Like someone we've never seen before. I think
I don't think they will.
It feels like it has to be someone we already know.
Especially with the poster, they're like hanging. I mean, and it's true. They say it's always somebody you know, and that is a part of Scream. But I think that it's more meta than that, right? I think it's someone we've always known, or at least like to some degree have known in some context, shape, or form. Again, I really hope that it's Stu, because I can even see him being like, he's obviously a psychopath. So him trying to repent for his sins, he's been in hiding, he lived, and now he's back trying to kill off everybody so that Sydney won't get hurt again. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, interesting.
You could play with that. That could work, you know?
That's
so I think it'll definitely be somebody from a past film. Probably one or two.
Yeah, no, I feel like it has to basically be Scream 1. It has to be someone from there, you know? Like, it's not going to be Joel, the cameraman, you know? Like the people that like survived, you know, that would be hilarious, but like no one else would be. But the thing is, they've already established, like we've seen so many dead bodies that weren't dead bodies, like they are either pretending to be dead or they survived. So like basically they could make anything work, but it would, I mean, there are certain people where I think I would roll my eyes, or I would be like, but at the same time, I'll make any excuse to see Matthew Lillard get to like do what he did as a performer 25 years in the future. Like, just, I don't know, that would be my dream too, just because I think I just want to see that and see what that is, and also him playing off of those actors for the first time in so long, you know. And I think it seems
Go ahead.
Oh, no, go for it.
No, I mean, he's just so iconic, and I think that Kevin Williamson could come up with a really good story for it. And I also think that, I mean, even when Scream 4 came out, he was like, I already have ideas for 5 and 6. Like, he just has these ideas, and, you know, they end up, I think they all the ones that he wrote, I think land. So for the most part, 2, I'm only really behind one of the killers, but it's fine. But like, at least there's always one killer that really like, you know, makes sense and is very surprising and is good and resonates and has like emotional gravitas to the story. So I think Kevin Williamson could do a good job. And also I think that they're aware that the fan response to that would be absolutely insane. Like, people would love it, because people to this day are so obsessed with Billy and Stu, but Stu especially, and just are consistently like calling for him to be in one of the movies. And he was supposed to be in the second one. So bring him back to the 5th one.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like the options are pretty limited to that. Or, I mean, I suppose Randy could have not died, and you'd probably flip out if you saw Jamie Kennedy.
Don't go there. Don't do that. He can't be the killer, though. That would be horrible.
But like, well, okay, so the only person I can think of that's been around the whole time, but like, it'd be so lame if it was Sydney's dad, right? Like, he's like, who cares? You know, like, there's nothing.
No, he's so old now, too.
No, right. No, I know. I'm just like, who could it be aside from the sort of the main people? But like, let's think about it how Randy would think about it. Okay, so this is the 5th film, but it's like sort of, it's not a reboot or a remake in the same way. They already kind of did that with 4, but it still kind of feels like that same vibe. Like, does this feel like the last?
I agree. I was thinking about this. I was thinking about what are the rules going to be, because we've already done the reboot remake thing in 4. So what are we going to approach it in 5? Are they going to say there are no rules? Are they going to say that the rules are we're going back to the original rules now? You know, like, what are we going to do now? Or are we just going to like pull from whatever horror genre is like, you know, do these days, like in 2022? What is horror doing? Are we going to use those rules? Or are we going to be like more fun stuff?
What is horror doing right now? That's kind of interesting. I mean, like an anthology sort of a thing where it's sort of all of the rules in a way. Like, there's just a bunch of different, like, it could be a prequel. It could be a sidequel. It could be, I don't know. I don't know how that works. I just made that up. But like, I don't know. It's hard. Like, cause I'm just like, what haven't they done?
I know.
Because it's obviously not a remake in the traditional sense because it has the original people in it. So unless the like trailers are all like sort of misdirects and it is about, but like I don't know, like it is about just a new generation and they are sort of not in the movie in the same way. But that wouldn't work, and that's obviously not what they're doing. So
yeah, I don't know. I mean, the first, in the trailer, it really looks like they are doing like heavy callbacks, especially to the first opening scene with Drew Barrymore. There's like Jenna Ortega is there. It looks like
right.
she's being stalked and killed almost like identically to Drew Barrymore's, So it's like that could definitely be a misdirect though, because I mean, look at Scream 4 and what it did with a misdirect with the opening. And also I feel like Kevin Williamson is probably so intensely paranoid about people finding out, because I mean, he's already gone through this where something has leaked and he's so protective of that I can see the whole entire trailer just being like,
yeah, a misdirect for sure.
Totally not what you think it's going to be, which, would be fine.
What if the Jenna Ortega like opening scene is actually a scene from the Stab remake? Because that to me feels like what Stab
would be good.
Stab needs to be rebooted because it's tired. Stab needs its, whatever it is. So they're going to rebrand with, diverse leads and it just sort of that's my, okay. I'm going to say that's an Andy prediction. I'll write that one down.
I like that. I'll go along with that prediction. I'll hope for that prediction because I don't need to see the Drew Barrymore scene again. I've already seen it and it's going to be, I mean, no offense to Jenna Ortega. She's incredible, but no one's going to hold the, Drew Barrymore's place. I mean, she's an icon to me, and I like Jenna Ortega, but she's not an icon to me. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I guess, but I mean, the whole point is like there's people that are like so famous in the opening scene, like that's like the point. That's why I didn't like Scream 3's opening. You know what I mean?
No,
so
I'm kidding. But I agree, and I think I mean, I would hope that, and I believe that Kevin Williamson's smarter than that and knows that like it's going to evoke that, but it's going to be done in a new way, or the ending's going to be different, or yeah, I mean, and even if it is just the trailer to the Stab remake, that's still too similar to the beginning to Scream 4. So like, I feel like it would need to be something else beyond that. I have no idea. But like, I'm really excited, and I'm really grateful to you for getting me to this excitement level.
I'm so glad that you're as stoked as I am now. That's so good.
Well, I mean, I'm never going to take the as stoked as you are award. Okay.
Fair. I have been waiting.
I am going to be climbing after you on the Scream, like, charts of enthusiasm my whole life, my friend. You have that. You have me beat. And I'm okay with second place because you deserve first place. And Kat, thank you so much. I can't wait to talk about it. Yeah.
I know. I can't. It's going to be such a different conversation. Like, I feel like talking about the fifth one. I can't believe it's tomorrow. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, it feels surreal even for me, just because. Yeah, I don't know, which is why I think I wanted to do this with you, so to give it this meaning and impact that it didn't have, but I wanted it to. And fake it till you make it. Now I'm here.
Now you're in it.
Yeah, I'm in it. And Kat and all of you out there, thank you for watching us break down the Scream franchise. And I don't know how we're going to survive another one, but we will be back on Friday night. That's right, Fright Night at 7 p.m. PST. And we will be here, same backdrops. Maybe I'll have a mask on. Maybe I won't. Maybe Kat will have the mask on. We don't know. Maybe someone else will write the cold open. Find out. You gotta tune in.
I do just want to say before we go, just to disclaimer this, if you're watching this live or you're going to watch this on YouTube and you're just watching them in order up till 5, just please be aware that when we talk about Scream 5, we're going to be talking about spoilers. It's only going to be out for about like 24 to 36 hours by the time we talk about it, which is controversial. I'm a little nervous about doing that because if people scroll on to our live and like don't realize that, I don't want them to hear a spoiler, but here's the disclaimer now, and we'll disclaimer it again when we have the conversation, because I don't want to spoil anybody. I want them to have the experience.
That's a really good point. And maybe we should be like a radio talk show where it's like every 5 minutes we sort of...
I know that sounds ridiculous, but I thought about that. I think that maybe we should be like, and just again, if anyone's watching, we are spoiling Scream 5 right now. Like, I don't know. It just feels, I really don't want to be responsible for that.
Well, it is very easy to see when someone joins. So we will do it. Every time someone joins, we will say, stop our sentence midway. Stop the amazing point that Andy was about to make. To be like,
I'm sure.
We're about to ruin. Yeah, I never make good points. It's true. So yeah, we will be very, because yeah, these, like, the surprise for these movies is sort of the whole point. And so yeah, I'm with you, but I think we both know that we won't have as much fun talking about it without the spoilers. So we can only get so far without getting into the good stuff. So we'll try and do it all for you all watching, and we are doing this as well for the YWCA Greater LA branch. And please, if you have anything to give, that would be very meaningful to us both. Like, I think it just makes this have a purpose beyond, I think me and Kat would do this anyway, but like,
for sure, but
like, it's just, it has more meaning, and it's sort of like why these movies are coming out too. It's like they need to have a point, and that's our point. We want to help women that are faced with domestic violence, and in this pandemic, the rates have gone so much higher. So yeah, let's help. And thank you so much for watching. Kat, I will see you in 2 days, and we will have to I don't know, we'll have to have a moratorium on talking about it until Friday.
Are we seeing it at the exact same time? Are we seeing it at 7 o'clock tomorrow? Perfect.
Yeah. I want to do a FaceTime with you in line or something.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay. I can't wait. Kat, you're my favorite, and all you are also. See you 2 days.
See you then. Bye.
Bye.